everybody, EchoV here, and the Elite Four, a staple in every Pokemon game, and the final step before you, the player, can finally prove yourself worthy of being called the very best, like no one ever was. That is, until you try competitive battling. In all forms of media, it's very rare for them to introduce a new character at the very end of the adventure, much less 4 of them. But Pokemon does this. As such, it is very important for these special group of characters to not only give us the challenge in battle, but also give us a lasting impression of who they are, making them memorable, and some of them have. So for this video, I'll be counting down my favorite members of the Elite Four throughout every generation in the style of the Elite Four themselves. That is, I will talk about 4 Elite Four members first before I end it with the champion themselves. Anyway, here we go! For the first member of this Elite Four, first up is Kahili. And while a lot of players will question why Kahili of all people gets a spot on this list when there are so many characters out there who deserve the spot more, hear me out. Much like the Elite Four members of old, Kahili is only met once you take on the Elite Four themselves, compared to the rest of her fellow members who you meet during the main storyline, and that's what I like about her, the mystery. Sure, in the Ultra sequels, she gets a slight upgrade where you can meet her much earlier, but still, one of my favorites when it came time to challenge the Elite Four was wondering who's that character's gonna be, who was I gonna face, and while it's nice to know these characters beforehand, Kahili in particular gave me that sense of mystery that I unironically enjoy. Second is her type specialty. She's a flying type trainer, and that's because of her profession in golf, where a few golf terms are named after kinds of birds. One thing I will never understand is why Pokemon feels the need to give their massive cast of characters such asinine names to tell us their type specialty, such as how Brock and Berg use rock and bug types. Big shock because it's part of their name. It's a nice one, don't get me wrong, but still, at least take the time to explain why these people chose that particular typing in the first place. Even a single phrase explanation is enough to make them memorable, and Kahili does that well. The next member of this Elite Four is Caitlyn. One of my favorite things about playing a new Pokemon game is not only seeing what the new games have to offer, but also seeing a character from a previous generation appear in the new one and seeing what they have to offer. In a way, it's like sort of a catch-up to see how that particular character has been doing all these years since we last saw them. It's way better than I mentioned in a text box if you ask me. In Caitlyn's case, we first saw her as a member of the Battle Frontier back in Gen 4. More specifically, serving the simple purpose of telling her valet, Darach, whatever, to award the player castle points, and nothing else. So basically, she's a nothing character who became something. Talk about a glow-up, am I right? Now as a member of the Elite Four, Caitlyn not only uses the still powerful Psychic type, but she also offers some new information as to what has happened prior, stating the following. In the past, when I battled, the force of my emotions shook me greatly. When my powers awoke, I came close to destroying everything around me. That weak person no longer exists. Wait a second! I thought this was Pokemon, not Stephen King, since this reminds me slightly of Carrie, one of my favorite novels. Yes, Caitlyn is one of very few examples of cute but terrible. Third on the list is Koga, because Koga is a ninja. Okay, fine, I'll elaborate. Jeez. Koga is in a similar case to Caitlyn, a character who we first saw in the previous generation before eventually becoming a member of the Elite Four themselves. But in my opinion, Koga did it better because unlike Caitlyn, he was the former gym leader of Fuchsia City before becoming a member of the Elite Four, thus establishing himself as a tough opponent to begin with. Yeah, Koga was only the 5th gym leader back in Gen 1, but surely he has to have some capable power if he was able to ascend to the Elite Four and become a member. Well, at least the Fuchsia Gym is still part of the Koga bloodline thanks to his daughter Janine. But seriously guys, this all would have been done quicker if you just accepted the fact that Koga is a ninja. Oh, and the fact that he uses poison types, and poison types are awesome to begin with, so always have that too. And the final Elite Four member before we reach the champion is Karen, who, by the way, is the only Karen that I will ever let talk to my manager, which is me, by the way. Anyway, Karen is my favorite Elite Four member out there, period. In Generation 2, they debuted both the Dark and Steel type, and while the Steel type gained Gym Leader, Dark did not. But Game Freak thankfully more than made up for that by introducing Karen. Unlike the rest of the Johto Elite Four, who I quickly breezed through without a problem, Karen on the other hand was a genuine challenge, knocking out half my team before I finally beat her. Finally, a real challenge, considering that most of, if not all of Johto's major battles were complete joke, even when slightly underleveled. But it's not just her strength that makes her one of my favorites, it's what she says after you beat her. Strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon. That is only the selfish perception of people. Truly skilled trainers should try to win the Pokemon they love best. I like your style. You understand what's important. I could not agree more with that statement. I understand that these days, we all strive to get the strongest Pokemon out there, to easily handle all the skilled players online. However, we should never forget to enjoy our Pokemon that we like to use, regardless of strength. Yes, some Pokemon are indeed better than others, but if we want to use our team, then what's stopping us? I mean, as long as we're enjoying the game, that's all that matters, right? Also, hottie alert! Finally, after all that talk about my favorite members of the Elite Four, then who did I pick as my favorite champion? Well, it's none other than Lance. I mean, who better to choose than someone who was actually a member of the Elite Four before becoming champion? Sure, say whatever you want about other champions like Blue, Iris, and even the ever so popular Cynthia. I don't care. Lance just does things so much better than they ever could. First off, Lance is a Dragon-type trainer, and Dragon-ish Pokemon as well. That should be more than enough. Second, Lance is named after a weapon. Third, he helps us fight Team Rocket, to the point that he tells his Dragonite to Hyper Beam a dude. This guy is a psycho, and for a good reason. And fourth, Lance is just the epitome of coolness. Yes, Lance has some illegal Pokemon, such as a Dragonite Berry in Gen 1, and Aerodactyl with Roxanne in Gen 2, and not to mention that all his Dragonites are below level 55. Sure, Lance cheats like every other Lance out there, and cheating should never be tolerated, but gods dang it! Lance is just so darn cool, and everything about him is just... yeah! Lance just has everything, which is why he's my favorite champion of all time. And that's it for this video. Who are your favorite Elite Four members plus champion? Leave them in the comments below. Link to the artists in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. If it's your birthday today, then happy birthday. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone, be good to each other.